Welcome to the main event of MotorMaster Monday, folks, live from Texas Motor Speedway on NASCAR Heat 5. It is round 30 of the 2022 NASCAR MotorMaster Series season, and folks, it is the very first playoff race of the season. 12 drivers advance to the playoffs, and 4 drivers will be eliminated at the end of this playoff round, which is 3 races in length, folks. You got Texas, you got Talladega, and you got the Charlotte Roval. But first, here tonight, we have the Everything's Bigger in Texas 300. And right now the race being led by Aaron Garcia in the 1 car. He is a playoff driver. Matt Smith in the 2 right behind him. He's the pole sitter for this race. The 61 car, Jeffrey Robinson Jr., getting kicked to the outside. He's a playoff contender as well. And it was Cameron Norton, a non-playoff driver in the 9, that was making that move. Elected to settle back in line just in front of the 18 of Jordan Roughton. He is a playoff driver. Jesse Carlson scored in 6th. He advanced his way through the playoffs as well. And it's Charles Jackson running in 7th. Part-time schedule, a couple of wins for him this season. Actually, excuse me, folks, that is the defending MotorMaster Series champion of Jason Doro right there. That was the 38 Chevy, and it's actually the 08 Chevy. Very similar looking cars, black and lime green paint jobs. And the top 7 have separated themselves from the rest of the field just a little bit. Second group being led by Trey Hollywood, Josh Colm-Diaz, and that's also where you'll find Charles Jackson. There he is, scored in 10th. I am NOSSCAR CEO Tyler McMurder. Strap yourselves in, kick back, relax, grab a cold can of soda, and enjoy the action, folks. I'm sure these drivers have all sorts of feelings going on, and we have problems on the back straightaway. Jesse Carlson was a victim of an incident there, and he spun back up into traffic, and it was Trenton Krentz in the 16 and King G in the 10 teammates that had nowhere to go. They got a big piece of this one, heavy damage to those 3 cars, and the caution comes out for the first time here at Texas. We're working stage 1, and the top 5 in the stages get those points, so these drivers are really working their way towards the front, or trying to at least, and trying to advance their position and get up there and battle for these points. And something happened up in about the top 10 region to Jesse Carlson, and when he came back up onto the racetrack, there was a few cars there that had nowhere to go, and that included Trenton Krentz, King G, and Timmy Brown. And they're rolling out of 4 now for the restart. Still in stage 1, Aaron Garcia, Matt Smith, Cameron Norton, Jordan Roughton, Jeffrey Robinson Jr., Josh Colm-Diaz. They're going to lead them to the line. That's your front 3 rows. Trey Hollywood, Charles Jackson right there with him in the top 10, as well as Harold Burden and Tanner Swaley in the 6 car, scored in 10th. '30th race of the season. These drivers have gotten to know each other very well, and many of these drivers have raced with each other for years here in NASCAR. And they're all chasing Aaron Garcia, strong driver so far in this race, and honestly we sort of expected that. Second seed in the playoff standings, 4 wins, 35 playoff points, and one of the favorites, one of the heavy favorites to advance all the way to the final 4. How about Jeffrey Robinson Jr., 11th seed of the 12 playoff drivers, so he's got a little bit of work to do if he wants to see himself towards the top and advance his way through these rounds, but he's been strong since the drop of the green flag here at Texas. I don't think he's been running any worse than the top 5. Trey Hollywood in the 51 just behind him, had wins last year, winless this season. Top 4 are all playoff contenders, and it's Charles Jackson in the 38 trying to break up the parade of playoff contenders, but he's got Jordan Roughton and Jason Doro trying to overtake him on the outside, and now they work through turns 1 and 2. And I mentioned earlier, many of these drivers have raced with each other for years here in NASCAR, so a lot of respect in the garage area between these drivers, and many of the non-playoff contenders are really not looking to jeopardize the chances of of their friends here in NOSSCAR for going out there and potentially winning a championship or potentially advancing a playoff round. So there's a lot of give and take here, especially early in stage one. And just as I say that, they were 3 wide a moment ago. I guess they were all 3 playoff drivers though, so I guess that's, it doesn't go against what I was saying. And they sort that out, but it looked like the biggest loser in that battle was Jason Doro. He might have even had contact made with another car, and he went up the hill and gave up a handful of positions there, now outside the top 15. Track position seems to be difficult to attain here so far in stage one. Seems to be critical. Oh, and Timmy Brown, former Brickyard 200 winner of the yellow car there we saw a moment ago. He went up and made contact with the outside wall, and he's still soldiering on, but some damage to that machine. And now Cameron Norton goes for a ride through the grass in the number 9 Chevy Camaro. Back up onto the racetrack he goes. And what a masterful job he did to not spin that car. No damage, and probably no damage to the 4 tires on that machine either. And still 3 wide. I think this is 3 or 4 laps in a row where there has been a 3 wide battle going down the back straightaway, and every single time it seems to be the car on the far outside that takes the biggest hit. And problems for the defending champion Jason Doro. And he comes back up onto the racetrack in front of a few other cars. I don't know what happened. His car shot to the right, and he hit the outside wall a ton. And when it happened, he spun back down the racetrack and went towards the entrance to pit road. And after that, he came back up onto the racetrack. Some cars had nowhere to go, and this puts us under the yellow flag for the 2nd time of the night here in the Everything's Bigger in Texas 300. Cameron Norton doing a great job in this race. Been up there battling in the top 10 and the top 5. One of the higher running non-playoff drivers. Did a masterful job saving that car. And he went off-roading on the front stretch just a couple of laps ago. And getting set for another restart. Two by two they go to the restart zone, and it's Aaron Garcia and Matt Smith leading them to the line. Of course, Matt Smith in the 2 there. He is a 2-time NASCAR Platinum Cup Series champion, still looking for that elusive first championship here in the MotorMaster Series in these Xfinity cars. Got his hands full with Aaron Garcia, Jeffrey Robinson Jr., Trey Hollywood, Jordan Roughton. That's the rest of your top 5. And then the highest running non-playoff driver at the moment is Charles Jackson in the 38 machine, running in 6th. Josh Colombiez in the 7th, scored in 7th. Alex Tesdall has worked his way all the way up into the 8th position, and he is another playoff driver. King G, Harold Burden rounding out the top 10 with Trenton Krentz knocking on the door and using the outside line to do it. 3 wide for a moment on the back straightaway in the battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It fizzles back down to 2 abreast. And at the end of it all, Jeffrey Robinson Jr. holds on to the 3rd place position. He was attempting to advance his way up to 2nd. The draft, one of the bigger factors in this race. And you can see these drivers all trying to get to the bottom and use the draft to their advantage in the corners, but once they get back to the straightaways, the outside line gets a good shove, good push down, especially the back straightaway, where it's completely straight, and that's when the outside line's preferred. Oh, and problems there. There were 3 wide a moment ago. The 6th car was up on the outside. Came back down into the right side of the 08 machine of Jason Doro, and they're battling fierce up here just inside the top 10. They're 3 and 4 wide going down the front stretch. And you can tell it's playoff time, folks. These stage points will be critical. Up at the front, it's Matt Smith, Jeffrey Robinson Jr., and Jordan Roughton, the front three, with Aaron Garcia running in fourth. Keeping our eye on this battle right here. Fifth annual season for the NASCAR MotorMaster Series, hosted on the NASCAR Heat games. This one in particular hosted on NASCAR Heat 5, and working round 30 of the season here at Texas Motor Speedway. 12 drivers made the playoffs. 4 drivers will be eliminated at the end of the 3-race round. And next Monday we have Talladega and the Charlotte Roval to settle all of that. For tonight, the main event of the evening is the very first race of the playoffs. And we're all chasing Matt Smith, the two-time Cup Series champion. Good battles all over the racetrack. The field quite spread at this time. And the closest contender for the lead is Jeffrey Robinson Jr. in the 61. And what a feel-good moment it would be for this driver. Still looking for that very first NASCAR MotorMaster Series wins. Come close on many different occasions, including this season. Comes into the playoffs out the 11th seed driver and has a lot of pressure on him to get these stage points and further secure his position to advance his way through these rounds. Just behind them, you saw the one car, Aaron Garcia. He takes back the third place position from Jordan Roughton in the 18. Jordan's going to drop to fourth, but he's going to hang there in the draft with the one of Aaron Garcia. It's Charles Jackson in the 38 car, the highest running non-playoff contender. He scored in fifth. And the draft is a big factor here in this race. You can see that the top 4 have broken away from the rest of the field, and the second group of cars, even though they've got more cars in this group, they're having a heck of a time running down your race leaders. We're taking a look now. Jesse Carlson in the 20. He's trying to use the draft with Trenton Prince in the 16 car just in front of him. The 2 cars down on the inside there are both playoff contenders, and Jesse gets very loose coming out of turn 4, has to chase the car through the grass, and another spectacular save by one of these NASCAR drivers going through the grass on the front stretch. Whereas most drivers would completely 360 the thing. We saw Jason Doro earlier go down there and he couldn't save it. Shot back up onto the racetrack and caused a wreck. Some of these guys are able to do a masterful job at saving that car. Not only did Jesse save it, but he stayed in the group he was in and maintains the draft with these drivers. And I think if the second group can ever get single file, they might actually make a little bit of ground and make a little bit of headway on the top 4. And now here's why I'm saying that. You can see the front 4 runners have all separated themselves a little bit. No longer glued bumper to bumper and no longer working together using the draft. So it'll be interesting to see if the second group can start working together and maybe get single file. They've been spending a lot of this stage here battling for positions side by side. Not only does that slow these cars down, but it wears their tires out a little bit more as well. P5 now belongs to Trenton Prince in the number 16 car. Playoff contender. And the first time he's ever made the playoffs here in the NASCAR MotorMaster Series. He's done a heck of a job here in the 2022 NASCAR MotorMaster Series season. Got Harold Burden right behind him in the 39 car. Harold, of course, started back in NASCAR on NASCAR 15 Victory Edition, like many of these other drivers in the field did. Goes back to what I was saying earlier about these drivers. They really know each other. They have raced each other for years, and they respect one another. And that's why you see the organization and the league that we have here. To the inside he goes for P5, and he's going to bring some friends with him. In fact, that might be the reason why this pass is happening right now. The draft is very strong, especially on the bottom over there in 1 and 2. He clears him, pulls up in front of him. And P5, Harold Burden in that 39 car. He's got a truck win this season. No wins here in MotorMaster, though. Josh Colin-Diaz, 2021 NASCAR Legend Series champion. Here on NASCAR Heat 5, driving those Cup cars with no playoff system. He's got himself up into the top 10, and he's in this second group that we've been watching. Third car in line. And they're beginning to reel in the driver running in fourth, and that is Jordan Roughton in the 18. And there you see him. One of our playoff contenders, 2 wins for him this season, and he's the 4th seed in the playoffs coming in. And just behind them, Jesse Carlson lost control on the front stretch. He's still going through the grass there. You could see it a moment ago. And another spectacular save there. No damage to the car, and he's going to soldier on. But the only difference between this situation and the incident that we saw earlier that he was able to correct it from, he's going to lose the draft of the group he was just in. He's got some friends behind him. They might be able to form their own third group and maybe reel them back in. A lot of these drivers struggling with getting loose coming out of turn 4. Saw Trenton Krentz get a little out of control there. Saw Jason Doro. We saw Timmy Brown, Jesse Carlson. We've seen a few drivers lose control over there coming out of turn 4. King G in the 10 car comes in as the 9th seed in the playoffs. He's come very close on a couple of occasions to finding victory lane for the first time in the MotorMaster Series. It's his rookie year, and he's thrilled to make the playoffs. And he was excited to get it all started. Tonight he knew he had Bristol, the final regular season race, and he knew he had Texas. And so far, it's been a good night for him. Matt Smith has led the most laps in this race. That red and black number 2 Chevy Camaro looking strong. Drivers running second and third. Just behind them, you got the number 1 of Aaron Garcia, Jeffrey Robinson Jr. just behind him in the 61. They're actually working together to try to close the gap a little bit to the leader, and I think they're getting somewhere. I think it's working. They're definitely driving away from the battle behind them. And here's what that battle looks like. The second group was reeling in Jordan Roughton, and now they have finally caught him, and they're going to the inside here. At least Harold Burden did, and he's going to clear him and take the 4th place position away. Jordan's going to tuck in behind him. Josh is right there in the 7 car, the red machine, and King G in the 10. This is 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, and this is critical. We're working stage 2, and it's the top 5 that get the stage points, so 2 of these 4 drivers in this group are not getting any stage points. And it's playoff time, folks, so those stage points, they count, they matter more than ever. Bit of a heartbreaking situation for Trey Hollywood. Front end damage to the number 51 Chevy Camaro. One of our playoff drivers. In fact, he's the 8th seed coming in. And as you can see, he's got a little bit of work to do if he's going to get back up there and challenge inside the top 5 like he was earlier. Some front end damage and an incident that we didn't see on camera. We can only wish him the best and remind him that there are many laps remaining. Alex Tesdall was in the draft in the second group at one point. Since then, he's lost that bunch. He's the 12th seed in the playoffs coming in, so he's got his work cut out for him here in the round of 12. Stage 2 has come to a close. Matt Smith takes it. Aaron Garcia is going to take second. Jeffrey Robinson Jr. in third. Harold Burden in fourth. And it was a side-by-side battle for 5th between Jordan Roughton in the 18 and King G in the 10. But I think that Jordan in the Monster Energy Toyota edged him for that spot. Well, folks, it's the final stage time for the Everything's Bigger in Texas 300, round 30 of the 2022 NASCAR MotorMaster Series season, and first playoff race. Seen a little bit of everything here in the first two stages. Long runs, short runs, side by side, single file, pack racing, 3 and 4 wide. We've seen some cars go flying through the grass on a couple of occasions. And we've also seen how wild and crazy the exit of turn 4 can truly be. Can really throw you for a loop if you're not prepared for it. The green flag is back in the air, final stage. And it could be the last time we see any of these drivers on pit road for any type of service as well. Unless we see a caution, then I'm pretty sure that most of the field will be coming in to take on tires. Matt Smith with a great restart. Opens it up by a couple of car lengths over Jeffrey Robinson Jr. in the 61, who takes second. Harold Burton restarted in second, but the outside line really didn't get going, and he might be in danger of dropping outside the top 5. Gordon Roughton to third, Josh Colm-Diaz to fourth. It's the highest Josh has been running all race long. And Charles Jackson in the 38, the non-playoff driver, trying to jump into the mix and take over fifth. He will. He brings Aaron Garcia with him. Trenton Krentz in the 16 is going to try to pull Alex Tesdall along as well. Really easy to get freight trained here at Texas if you get hung out to dry on the outside line. A couple of cars got out of shape there on the back straightaway. Jeffrey Robinson Jr. tagged the wall coming out of turn 2, and that checked up the field at the front. And that is a shame. He was up there in second, and he had just gotten to the back bumper of the leader. There you see him, and he's trying to find a hole to get back to the inside. King G in the 10 car closed the door. And he might be up, yeah, there you go. He finds a spot in line just in front of the 8 car of Alex Tesdall. Just behind Alex is Tanner Swaley and Harold Burton in the 39 car. The top 10 have separated themselves from the rest of the field. And the second group there being led by the defending champion Jason Doro, Trey Hollywood right behind him, as well as Cameron Norton. How about Jordan Roughton? 2 wins this season. It's been a career year for him here in the NASCAR MotorMaster Series. He's never had multiple wins in a single season in NASCAR, and he's never had the 4th seed entering the playoffs for a NASCAR Series, and here he is. All of that going for him, running in second in the first playoff race of the season. He's got company behind him, but if they can work together, whether the one car is in front of him or behind him, he's still right there with the leader in the draft and has a chance. That's the thing about these races. As long as you're on the lead lap and in the draft with the lead pack, you've got a chance to win this race. Whoa, we saw the 38 there. Charles Jackson got a little bit squirrely coming out of turn 4. He held on to it, and I'm sure it scared Josh Colm-Diaz in the 7 car just a wee bit. King G was able to get to the inside of Trenton Krentz. He's going to bring Jeffrey Robinson Jr. and Alex Tesdall with him. And the key really here is I don't think anybody wants to be the last car in line, because that's where you're running the highest risk of losing the draft with the lead pack. Jason Doro has joined the front 10, so the top 11 have separated themselves from the rest of the field. And it's Trey Hollywood leading the second group with Jesse Carlson and company. Cameron Norton, Tanner Swaley, Timmy Brown, they're all back there. And it could be a strategy call. We've seen at times in the past these drivers will elect to make a second group and stay out of the lead pack and attempt to try to dodge any chaos that does happen. And they're all facing the pole sitter, Matt Smith. #1 seed coming into the playoffs, 11 wins this season, which is a new record here for the NASCAR MotorMaster Series. Nobody's led more laps than him today, and nobody's been able to manage a more comfortable gap while leading than Matt Smith here today. As you can see, he's got a comfortable 1 or 2 car lengths advantage, and it just seems like whenever he's the one leading, the driver running second and third has a tougher time staying with him. Drivers running in the top 3, they combined for 17 wins here this season. So no surprise that they're up there battling for the win here at Texas in the first playoff race of the season. When the big lights come on, and that's when the drivers really come to life here, hunting for this championship. Oh, and a problem there for Aaron Garcia coming out of turn 4. We've seen drivers have problems coming out of there. Cars get loose and often go sliding to the inside. His actually went to the outside, and minor contact was made with the outside wall, and he's going to lose the draft of the front 4, and now he's going to have to settle in line here in the second group of cars and see if he can make something happen. Good thing going for him. Many laps still to go here. And as I mentioned earlier, as long as you're in the draft and on the lead lap, you still have a chance to win this thing. It just becomes a little tougher. And the survivalist, folks, Jason Doro in the 08 car, defending champion up there in the lead group. He was back in the second group. Before there was 3 groups, and he has slowly worked his way forward and has been able to drive his way up into the lead pack and stay there. And now that there has been another split, looking like that much stronger for a good finish. All these drivers in the lead pack, they wanted to go caution-free to the end, and I'm sure that pretty much everybody else that has lost the draft with the leaders, they would love to see a caution to bunch everybody back up and have another shot to win this thing. Matt Smith out front, Jordan Roughton in second, Josh Colm-Diaz in the 7 car up in third. It's the highest he's run all race long. He brought King G in the 10 car with him, and Jeffrey Robinson Jr. rounds out the top 5. Now it's side by side for the 5th place position. It looked like Jeffrey had to check up a little bit, where he was going to run into the back of King G, and that opened the door for Jason Doro to jump in there on the inside and make a move for P5. And he's going to take that position. Whoa, Jordan Roughton in the 18. He got very loose coming out of the corner, came up the track and into Josh Colm-Diaz, and around the 7 car went. Oh, and that is a tough break. A playoff contender, Josh Colm-Diaz, started in NOSSCAR back on NASCAR Heat 3. Came into the playoffs the 6th seed driver, and now he's lost the draft of the lead group and has fallen outside the top 10 because of all of that. And just like that, the entire complexion of the race changes, and again, that is a shame, folks. Josh is a very loyal and dedicated driver and loves racing in NASCAR, has many wins and a championship on his resume, and hasn't missed a race in quite some time, and I feel for him. Jason Doro has worked his way to P2, and he's got Jeffrey Robinson Jr. and King G behind him. Jordan Roughton has somehow lost the draft of these front 3. I guess it might have something to do with the contact made with the outside wall a moment ago. His car might not be up to full speed anymore. And now if these three drivers can work together, they have a chance to run down the race leader, Matt Smith. It's pretty much the only way it's going to happen. Matt, of course, putting on a clinic here. Set the record this season for the most wins in a single season in the NASCAR MotorMaster Series. And, of course, he's won 2 NASCAR Platinum Cup Series championships, looking to add to his already very impressive resume. A sure future Hall of Famer here in NASCAR, and logging more laps, leading more laps, and showing us why. Well, I'm not trying to make everybody jump to conclusions or get too excited here, but I do believe that Jason Doro cut into the lead a little bit that most recent time by. This might not be over just yet. And there is Jason Doro, and it's wild to see him up here in second and battling for the win here at the end of this race. He made a couple of mistakes earlier in this race, spun through the grass, came up, back up onto the track, and caused a wreck or two, and since then has been able to rebound and drive his way to the front, running in second and very much alive here in his shot and his hopes of winning the Everything's Bigger in Texas 300. He might have tagged the wall a little bit coming into turn 2. And I think that those 3 drivers lost a little bit of ground to the race leader this most recent time by, and I think it's because King G made a move for third on Jeffrey Robinson Jr., and they really weren't nose to tail and set up for the entire lap that most recent time by, and it's battles for position like that that are really going to hinder their progress at running down the race leader. And we have a flag on the racetrack. Matt Smith, your leader. Jason Doro running in second. King G in third. Jeffrey Robinson Jr. in fourth. And it's Harold Burden in the 39 car rounding out the top 5. Heck of a run for Juicy J. A great way to start the playoffs. It's exactly what he needed. Matt Smith making history so far here at Texas. He takes the stage 2 win. Here we go, folks. Green flag is back in the air. 2 defending NASCAR champions on the front row for the restart. This stage in the race, everybody has seen exactly what happens if you lose the draft, and if you lose touch with the race leader, you realize you got no shot anymore, and the urgency level is definitely picked up for that reason. These drivers are going to do everything they can to stay up there in that lead group, and it looks like the top 5 have already begun to separate themselves a little bit. It's Trenton Krentz running in 6th and Alex Hesdahl 7th with Jesse Carlson in 8th. They're pushing as hard as they can to not let the top 5 go anywhere. There's Charles Jackson, Trey Hollywood in the 51 right behind him. No more damage on the front end of that machine. Trey is good to go and hunting for the win. Textbook move to the inside by Jeffrey Robinson Jr. in the 61 car. He's going to pin King G up on the outside, and he's going to take over 3rd place. And it looked like Harold in the 39, he thought about it. He was going to try to get down to the bottom and take 4th away. Last-minute decision, thought better of it, tucked back in line. The top 6 working together, single file for the most part. The only one who has stepped out of line so far was Jeffrey Robinson Jr. Took that position away. The second group being led by Alex Hesdahl. Oh, Jesse Carlson's going to kick Alex to the outside, gets to the bottom. And Charles Jackson, I was going to say he's going to follow him through, but it looked like he was going to take the outside line as well, this time through 3 and 4. He does. Trey's going to jump to the bottom. Oh, there was contact there between Alex and Jesse. Alex is going to get back to the inside. He's going to try the Earnhardt crossover move to take back the 7th place position. And it doesn't work. Tucks back in line just in front of Trey Hollywood in the 51. Aaron Garcia in the 1 car. In the process of all of this, was able to take the 10th place position away from Charles Jackson. And Josh Colm-Diaz has worked his way up to 11th after spinning out earlier in stage 2. Let's give a call to Harold Burden up there in 5th. Playoff driver, a long-time NOSSCAR driver as well. Started back on NASCAR 15 Victory Edition. It's like Jeffrey Robinson Jr. It's like Charles Jackson in the 38 as well. A lot of drivers in the field here today. Started back on NASCAR 15. Jesse Carlson in the 20. And there's 20 drivers out there on the racetrack. The top 8 are all playoff drivers. They have slowly worked their way to the front. The cream has risen to the top. And still everybody chasing Matt Smith, the 2-time NOSSCAR Platinum Cup Series champion in that black and red number 2 Chevy Camaro. Dave Marks Jr., the 68, made the playoffs for the NOSSCAR Tailgate Truck Series this year for the first time in his NOSSCAR career. Missed it by, I think, about 54 points here this season for the NOSSCAR MotorMaster Series, but still a solid season and a solid showing for him. We hope you're enjoying the main event here for MotorMaster Monday, 5th annual NOSSCAR MotorMaster Series season. And folks, it's time to grab the volume knob and turn it sky high, folks. We are going to crank it up on MotorMaster Monday. crank it back down, folks. We are going to bring you back to full commentary here for round 30 of the 2022 NASCAR MotorMaster Series season. Posted right here on NASCAR Heat 5. It's the 5th annual season for the MotorMaster Series on MotorMaster Mondays, folks. It's become a tradition. The MotorMaster main event here for tonight on MotorMaster Monday. Everything's bigger in Texas 300, the very first playoff race of the season, and right now it's being led by the defending NASCAR MotorMaster champ, and that is Jason Doro, driver of the 08 Chevy Camaro, black and lime green Chevy there. And he's got Jeffrey Robinson Jr., Matt Smith, and Harold Burden right there, second, third, and fourth. The top four broken away from the rest of the field. And it's King G in the 10 car running at fifth, but he's got no draft help right now, so he's being run down by that second group of cars, being led by Jesse Carlson and Aaron Garcia. Nobody has led more laps today than the two of Matt Smith, but right now he finds himself in third. You gotta wonder if he's just riding there to maybe save his tires a little, let these guys wear their stuff out a bit, and maybe make a one last charge at it and take the lead back. It's been a heck of a race for all of these drivers. Jason Doro in particular, from the back to the front on a couple of different occasions. He is winless here in 2022 in the MotorMaster Series. It's shocking to say our defending champion is winless. It's not the first time it's happened before, but it's a little bit shocking in the case of Jason Doro when you consider and factor in how talented of a sim racer he is on the NASCAR Heat games. It's just very not like him, especially 30 races deep into the season, 29 being complete and this being round 30. And as of now, yeah, Jason's looking for his first win of the season. And what a heck of a time it would come at. There really is no better time to get hot and start winning races than when the playoffs begin, and that's exactly where we're at. While I was going through all of that, Harold Burden in the 39 car just took the third place position away from Matt Smith in the 2. We've got two NASCAR originals, folks. Jeffrey in the 61, Harold in the 39. They're running in second and third. Both started back in NASCAR on NASCAR 15 Victory Edition. They have both been through the transitions from game to game. They have both won numerous amounts of races. Jeffrey has won championships. And they're both battling for that very first NASCAR MotorMaster Series win of the season. Jeffrey looking for his first career NASCAR MotorMaster Series win, and Harold looking for his first win of the season. Of course, he found victory lane in this 39 car on one occasion in 2021. King G still rides in fifth in the 10 car. There's Jesse Carlson and Aaron Garcia. They're running 6th and 7th, trying to close the gap on King G, who does not have a drafting partner. And it's Charles Jackson in the 38 car running in the 8th position with Alex Hesdall, Trey Hollywood. They're rounding out the top 10. Josh Cole Diaz just gave up 11 to his teammate Cameron Norton in the 9. And that's just to give you a bit of an update on where some of your favorite drivers are running. And right now we can tell you Jordan Routon has scored in 15th, the 4th seed driver in the playoffs with 2 wins this season. It's been a career year for him in MotorMaster on the MotorMaster Mondays, but he's had his hands full here today at Texas. 2021 NASCAR Legend Series champion Josh Cole Diaz in the 7th. Very similar story to Jason Doro, up and down the leaderboard all race long. Definitely has the car to be up there in the lead group. But he's had to work his way from the back to the front from the beginning of the final stage until now. And it's taken him all this time to now drive up into the top 10. And the battle for the lead is on. Jeffrey Robinson Jr. to the inside of Jason Doro. Jason shut the door rather aggressively, and that allows Harold Burden in the 39 to get underneath for second. And he's going to try to bring Matt Smith with him. This is not what Jeffrey Robinson Jr. wanted to see. He's now kicked to the outside, and he drops back to P4. We're in the final stage. It's money time. It's race time. Jason Doro throwing some big blocks to try to hold on to the lead. And now Harold Burden goes to the outside with a big push from Matt Smith in the 2. And there might be some sort of problem with the '08 Chevy Camaro. And now he's off the pace going down the back straightaway. Jeffrey Robinson Jr. was just taking a look to the inside for the lead up here. Harold Burden's got the lead at Texas coming out of turn 4. He's got the inside line and the preferred groove. And that was the finish, folks. What a race and what a finish and what a win. Harold Burden in the 39 car. And you can see Jason Doro is still slow in the '08 machine. I think that fuel or tires was a factor. You can see Cameron Norton in the 9 car as well off the pace. And this is over entering turn 3, so he's really limping it to the finish. Strategy was definitely a part of this one. And somehow, some way, the longtime NASCAR driver, Harold Burden, driver of the 39 Chevy Camaro, he wins. First NASCAR MotorMaster Series win of the season and his second NASCAR MotorMaster Series win of his career. He's let a couple of races go this season where he came very close to parking it in victory lanes, so I guarantee you this one feels so good, especially to kick off the playoffs. He is now locked in to the round of 8. What a drive and what a finish, and it explains the urgency by Jeffrey in the 61 car trying to get to the inside of Jason Doro for the lead as soon as possible. And Jason in the '08 threw an aggressive block, and then all of a sudden he was either out of fuel or he had a flat tire on the back straightaway. And if he had ran out one corner or one lap sooner, it would have been Jeffrey leading the race. See if we can get a word from the driver of the 39. Might be able to get a couple of post-race interviews before we wrap up the night here for MotorMaster Monday. Stick around, folks. All right, it's been a while since we've had post-race interviews, folks. We're going to need to dust the mic off a little bit for this one. Well, first off, what a race. What a finish. It was a wild one. No in-race reporter. And we were piecing things together as we went, and I knew that the laps were winding down when Jeffrey started making moves to the inside of Jason Doro for the lead. And then at that point, I know there was only 3 or 4 to go. And we'll start the post-race interviews here with the driver of the number 2, and that is Matt Smith, driver who finished in 3rd, if I'm not mistaken, 2-time Platinum Cup champ. Still looking for that elusive first MotorMaster Series championship. Could be this year, and it could have been another win here tonight for you, Matt. But at the very end, seemed like everybody was making wild moves. It got very racy, and somehow it didn't unfold the way that you were hoping for. Take us through those last few laps, and take us through your entire race as well.
I mean, the race was pretty fun. Just tried to keep it out front and out of trouble. Honestly, like, I had to give up the lead and save like a lap of gas towards the end. Otherwise, I never would have gave up the lead. But I felt that the car was good enough that no one could really get to me, no matter if it was new tires or old tires. But had to give up some track position, and just was trying to save gas, and then it was a little too late to make all the moves that I wanted to make, and felt I threw kind of a crappy block on Juicy there on the last lap, so I gave him second. So I'm happy with the third. We got a stage win, accumulated points, and that's really all I have to do at this point to keep moving forward.
Absolutely. You're the favorite coming in to win the championship based on wins, based on playoff points, top fives, laps led, you name it. You're pretty much at the top of the charts there. Overall, when you take a look at the rest of the schedule for the playoff races, what races pop out at you as opportunities to get points?
Let me pull up the schedule here real quick and I will let you know. Just like the mile and a halves in general, I feel like are pretty fun. Let's see, so Talladega and the Roval is pretty much toss up for either one. Roval that's probably going to be pretty hectic. I love Vegas. I always do well at Phoenix, and then of course Homestead's the championship. So I don't know. I mean, I've always loved Homestead, so just got to make the Final Four and give it my all at that track, and hopefully I got a shot again.
Keep doing what you're doing, and no doubt in my mind you'll be in that Final Four. Good job tonight at Texas.
All right, thank you, and I want to send a congratulations to Trouble. Ran a great race, and congrats on the win.
Huge shout out to Harold, and we're going to get to him in just a moment. Real quick, before we do, we're going to now turn things over to the driver who finished in second, a longtime NOSSCAR driver from back of the NASCAR 15 days, Jeffrey Robinson Jr. Came so close to winning here tonight at Texas, had the lead on a couple of different occasions, made a move near the end to the inside of Jason Doro. He made a block and then ran out of fuel, I believe, about a half a lap later. Take us through those last laps and what was going through your mind battling for that win.
Yes, the race, it was a very good race for me. And as the laps was winding down, I was thinking to myself when to make my move, when to make my move. And when I decided to make my move, so Marco threw a block on me as he should. So I just tried to keep the guys that was behind me, have them stay there, so I can have another shot at Mucka. Then my car got tight. All was with three to go, and then Trouble passed me and Flash, and I tried to regroup and get the positions back that I lost, and it's just not enough.
You come into the playoffs the 11th seed. You got the one playoff point to kick off the postseason, but it's strange saying that because of all your top 5 finishes this season. Where do you think that you kind of stack up coming into the playoffs? How tough do you think it's going to be?
I think it's going to be very tough. I mean, honestly, with all the bad luck that we have had for the past few weeks, I'm surprised that we even made the playoffs after all the bad luck and being crashed out and from the past few races. But I think it's going to get tougher and tougher as we go.
I want to say congrats, Juicy on second and Flash on third. Sorry, Ty, it gave me like 5 different parties to join before I found the right one.
I apologize. You're in the right one. We'll just wrap this up with Juicy. Congratulations on a runner-up finish at Texas. We're sorry that it's not one position better. It looked like you were going to get it done. And good luck to you the rest of the way in your journey for the championship.
Thank you, and good win, Trouble.
Hey, thanks, brother.
And to victory lane we go. And it was a wild battle for it and a heck of a race driven by the driver of the number 39 Chevy Camaro, and that is Harold Burton, a longtime NOSCAR driver from the NASCAR 15 days. And you've done it, man. First win of the season, second MotorMaster win of your career, and you have locked yourself into the round of 8 and you advance your way through this wild round of 12 where you've got Talladega, you've got the Charlotte Roval. You know, you don't have to worry about any of that anymore. How good does this feel sitting in victory lane here at Texas?
I'm just amazed, actually. I can't even believe I did that. I mean, with 15 to go, I was following behind the front four, just riding in fifth, like, okay, I'm just as fast with half throttle. I think I can do this. But yeah, to go into them road courses, and I love road courses, you know what I mean? That's my strategy right there. So I'm going to have a good finish, I hope, there. But yeah, thanks, Flash, for riding me real clean. When I got under you, man, you just stayed behind me and rode. I appreciate that. You could have challenged me and really made it interesting, but I appreciate that.
No problem, buddy. Good job.
Take us through those last laps from your perspective. You're in the top four. You don't have any traffic or anyone coming behind you. It's just you four battling for this win. What's going through your mind? What are you trying to plan out?
I was just gauging them. I'd back off a little bit and see if I can get a run back at them, and I would just run them back down from almost 0.5 of a second, 0.6 of a second. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just as fast as them. So if they just make one mistake and I can get under them, it's interesting. So I just bide my time. Fourth is just still satisfactory to me no matter what. But yeah, it just didn't work that way. The God shined on me.
You are the fuel conservation master as well, and evidently, some of them were a little bit short or really on the verge of being short on fuel coming to the finish. Where were you in terms of fuel and tire wear coming to the end of this?
Oh, I was comfortable. I still had like 25% on my right rear. I wasn't even in the danger with that. And the fuel, I still had another. God, I could have won 2 more laps easily. There at the end, I was clutching it a lot. Just started clutching, and that's how I gained so much ground on them in the corners. They just would just turn so properly to the bottom. It was so easy. It wouldn't even get loose. And with the 2 that I ran, oh yeah, it wasn't getting loose no matter what off of 4.
Seemed like there was a lot of factors in this race to have a good finish, run well, be up at the front, you know, track position, the draft, what line in the corners to take, and everyone also seemed to be getting really loose coming out of turn 4. What do you think the biggest key to winning tonight's race was?
Just keeping it clean and having a good line. As long as you had the patience, that was the key right there.
Good stuff. You heard it from Harold himself. All right, from all of us here at NOSSCAR, we'd like to say congratulations, Harold. You are a NOSSCAR MotorMaster Series winner here in 2022, and you are locked in to the round of 8.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Folks, that just about does it here for this MotorMaster Monday. We hope you enjoyed the main event. We apologize for the long delay without commentary. We've been doing radioactive races over the last couple of weeks where you can hear the drivers throughout the race from green flag to checkered flag, so feel free to go and check those out as well. And from all of us here at NOSSCAR, we are saying so long and stay fast, folks.